Meanwhile, inside Jack Skellington's spooky skull cruiser. It's a dying shame that I can no longer see the video of my game anymore. My game, Nightmare Before Christmas Oogie's Revenge, is a great game. For both the PS2 and Xbox. You might say it's an excellent underrated gem. Oh well, I can always enjoy my cruise down the spooky seas. Yeah, that Jack Skellington boat ride clip had to be added in, so that the video can be classified as a 4K video. Anyways, on to the extras. In the extras, you can either view the credits or the art gallery. The art gallery is where you get to like I said before, collect chimps in order to unlock certain art pieces that you can look at. Here's the credits. Well, they're basically just the credits. The people who worked on the game. It's pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, on to the bonus game. Thou Art Dead. You remember that game within the movie, right? Well, you actually get to play it here. That's pretty cool. But, here's the kicker though. And this is why the arcade tokens exist in the game. If you collect them, you actually need them to play the game itself. Oh, and the high scores say that SKL, who is actually Skull in the movie by the way, is the top player. Which actually does make sense considering that, well, he had a really high score in the game itself if you've seen the movie. Alright, let's put in that token and start playing Thou Art Dead. The controls are simple. You have one button to attack and one button to jump. And of course, this game is actually pretty cool, although it doesn't have the blood as seen in the movie. I can kind of understand, like, not including blood in the game since, well, it would be M-rated if it had blood included, or, no, see, I think most definitely M, yeah. But it's still pretty cool though. It's reminiscent of two classic spooky games, Castlevania and Ghouls and Ghosts, also known as Ghosts and Goblins. Also, the enemies in this game are the Skeleton Warriors, which are kind of reminiscent of Jason and the Argonauts, and these purple Cyclops monsters. Yeah, there are actually two different colored ones. The purple ones with green backs only take one hit to kill. And there are also the darker purple ones with a bluish teal backs that take 2 hits to kill. And of course, they're the tougher variants. And there are also some other green monsters in other levels. I don't know what they're called, but they look like lizard-like people. And the tougher purple Cyclops monsters also shoot fireballs. So yeah, there's more to them than just the color. And of course, them being obvious palette swaps. The one minor flaw is that, well, the screen turns red whenever you get hit. I know that's to compensate for the lack of blood, but it can still get annoying at times. Just a minor nitpick though, it doesn't really affect how cool this game is, and it is definitely a cool bonus game included in a Monster House, and it's well worth getting a copy of Monster House if you finally want to play a real-life version of Thou Art Dead. Although you can't play this game without getting tokens. And this ends our review of Monster House. I also forgot to mention that there was going to be an Xbox version of the game at one point. Yeah, an Xbox version of the game was planned, but it was cancelled because the Xbox just didn't sell very well. Even though the OG Xbox sold 24 million units compared to the GameCube's 21.75 million units. And those are worldwide sales. But its sales still lag behind the PlayStation 2. And by 2006, the Xbox 360 was already out. So yeah, the OG Xbox wasn't as popular as it used to be. Yeah, it was a pretty decent game. I used to play this game a lot when I was younger. And when I was, well, not as smart. Because people who are younger are not usually as smart. Anyways, let's talk about the game. The game is pretty decent. It's a third-person shooter, and it actually controls fairly well. Although it can feel stiff at times, especially with the player movement. And the fact that, the game doesn't offer you control with the camera. It also has a lock-on system that allows you to lock on to certain enemies. And they actually, of course, were rather creative and imaginative about certain enemies. They're not just your, spiders, bats, or zombies. They actually have, living chairs and the flying spooky books that are reminiscent of Super Mario 64, and haunted TVs, and yes, they even have, lamps as the enemies, and like I said before, even the floors are enemies. Yeah, for the game alone, I'm gonna give it a rating of a 5 out of 10. It's mediocre, it's average. Yeah, that's just for the game alone. It's a typical run-of-the-mill third-person shooter. But, as for Thou Art Dead, I would have to give this game a rating of an 8 out of 10. Thou Art Dead is a great bonus game inside the game itself, and it's well worth getting a copy of Monster House for, because you get to play this game that was seen in the movie and it looked awesome to you. Yeah, you get to be like Skull and get a high score. And of course, it's pretty reminiscent of older spooky games like Ghouls and Ghosts and Castlevania. Yeah, it might not be the best retro-style game, but it's still pretty great. It gets a rating of 8 out of 10. Monster House overall gets a rating of a 6 out of 10. I would have given this game a lower score if it wasn't for the inclusion of Thou Art Dead. Yeah, it's an average game, but the inclusion of Thou Art Dead makes it well worth it. Although you actually have, although you can't really play the Thou Art Dead bonus game alone. You actually have to get tokens to play the bonus game itself. Whereas other bonus games that were included with games like Rampage, Total Destruction, you don't need certain in-game items to play the game. Yeah, that's the only bad thing about it, is that you actually need in-game collectibles to play the game itself. That's what the arcade tokens are for. Yeah. We're going up to the cemetery now, and I was told that Lucy Loud is there, and it's at she's standing on a gravestone. She's gonna tell me more about how zombies ate my neighbors came into the dimension itself, and she's gonna give me some backstory on this whole situation. Yeah, that's one of the biggest mysteries that has yet to be explained in this dimension. Yeah, she's there. But I would have to watch out for a certain creation that, well, looks like a Frankenstein monster, but also has the body of SpongeBob. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I didn't actually know that you can make SpongeBob look scary, but there you go. Yeah, so see y'all in the graveyard. Peace and happy spooky month.